Welcome back. I'm in New York. This is the coronavirus capital of the universe right now. We've got hundreds of thousands of cases here. What we do here probably doesn't apply to a place like, say, South Dakota, where they have less than 1 million people in that state. The state is led by my next guest, Governor Kristi Noem, Republican of South Dakota. She has taken some heat for her refusal to impose a statewide lockdown order, but it looks like that has worked out pretty well for South Dakota. Governor, welcome to Newsmax. How are you tonight?
Thank you, Greg. I'm doing good.
All right. How many cases do you have right now in South Dakota?
You know, we've had a total of about 1,600 cases. We've had many hundreds recover. So we've got one area of our state that we have a hot spot we're actively addressing, but 2/3 of our state has no cases or 1 or 2 in each county. So overwhelmingly, South Dakota's in a really good position. We do have one area that we're concerned about that we're really going after pretty hard to make sure we're slowing down the spread.
So, Governor, the easy thing for you to have done would have been to follow the guidelines from the CDC, from the White House, all of this stuff about mandatory stay-at-home orders. You didn't do it, and you took a bit of a risk. Why did you opt to not do it?
Well, we do follow CDC guidance, but we also made decisions that were best for South Dakota. South Dakota is not New York City. We're very different, and even from county to county, we're very different. So I did not mandate any business closures. I didn't order any shelter in place. We just decided that we were going to be innovative and allowed our businesses to change how they do business, take care of their customers and their employees, and then make sure that people were accepting personal responsibility for their actions. I told people what we needed to do, that we needed to social distance, that they needed to make good decisions for themselves and their communities. And overwhelmingly, that's exactly what South Dakotans have done.
How closely have you been looking at Sweden? They have followed similar measures. They are practicing social distancing, but businesses are still open. Are you aware of what's happening there, and have you been keeping an eye on it?
I have. We've actually been watching the different reactions and responses in every country and in every state. We're using all the models and projections that are out there and then incorporating that on top of our demographics, our vulnerable populations, and then making decisions that are best for each community. I think that's the best approach, and it allows our economy to do a little bit better, and we'll be able to bounce back a lot quicker than I think a lot of other states will be able to.
Smithfield, it's a pork production plant in your state. Smithfield is a brand known to many people. I think that's a hot spot. They had a lot of corona cases there. Can you update us on that situation? And by the way, Smithfield, I don't know if you know this, but it's owned by a Chinese conglomerate, the WH Group, I believe. Do you find that at least interesting?
Well, the Smithfield situation has been a concern for us. So that's why we're actively going after controlling the spread in that hotspot. But, you know, this was a critical infrastructure business. Regardless of a shelter in place, regardless of other policies, it's necessary for that plant to be up and running to protect this nation's food supply. So we are making sure that while the plant is pausing, that we're protecting the employees, but we want to get it back up online as soon as possible. I am aware it's a Chinese-owned company, but I believe my decisions today need to be based on what's best for those employees, and then also making sure we're addressing getting it back up and going, because it is so important to this country that they continue to have food on our grocery store shelves.
Unemployment right here in New York is, I think, incalculable right now. The people are coming in so quickly. What is unemployment right now in South Dakota, and what was it before this crisis? Can you say?
Well, we're having record numbers of people signing up for unemployment here, too. You know, I think that talks a lot about South Dakotans. As soon as the president was recommending to the nation that we take a 15-day pause, everybody stay at home and take this virus seriously, South Dakotans did. Even though nobody told them they had to and there was no punishment and no businesses were shut down, they still followed the president's recommendations and stayed home, and that did dramatically impact our economy. So we're working with all of them to make sure that we're helping those employees and workers that don't have jobs right now, but we're also helping the small businesses. I set up a loan assistance program that immediately within 3 or 4 days can get small amounts out to businesses to keep them open, and then helping them go through the federal programs as well.
By the way, finally, the 1,600 cases that you have in South Dakota, my understanding is that actually, considering your population, is below the national average per 100,000, something like 135 or so cases per 100,000. Nationally, it's about 185. Does that conform with your statistics?
It does, but remember, Greg, that hundreds of those people have already recovered. So they're not active cases, and we are over-testing as well because of the Smithfield situation. So Smithfield company, we really have been aggressively going after this, so we're testing more, and we also have a lot of people that are getting through this tough situation much better.
Governor Noem, we thank you so much from the capital of South Dakota, which I used to say was Pierre, but I think you say Pierre. Right?
Pierre, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right. You're good. Thanks,
Yeah.
Greg.
Well, it's spelled Pierre. I was saying that for a long time. Thank you very much,
It is.
Governor Noem.